Hello guys and welcome back to the Traitors US Season 3, and we're starting this series out on a very high note. I am a big defender of the Traitors US. Some people are like, meh, it doesn't work when it's like fake celebrities, and I'm like, no, I think it does work. It's just you're not used to it. It's fine, especially with like the UK lot. They're not used to watching Survivor, Big Brother, their housewives. So watching them all together in one castle sometimes just doesn't vibe with them. However, I do implore you to stick through it because it is a very entertaining series, regardless of how you feel about the people participating. And I have to say, this year, there are some really cool people participating that makes me think this is going to be an all-timer series if they can pull it off. Now, obviously, I've only seen 2 episodes, so I'm going to be talking about the first episode now and then the second episode in a second. And then I will continue to do those episodes until we're all caught up, and then I can start doing them weekly for the last probably 5 or 6 episodes, I'd say. Now, as you can see, I have a little bit of a neck injury at the moment. Nothing crazy. I think I've just got a crick in it, and it is a pain literally in the neck. So I've got like a heat compress on it at the moment, and it's just sort of heating my neck up a little bit. So that's why I look so odd today. But either way, let us get straight into the episode. Let's start talking about all things Traitors US Season 3, and I'm very excited. Let's go. So, we open with the car journey into the castle, and I only had 2 observations from this section. The first is that Tony, I don't know his surname, but he's from Survivor. He appears to be someone that a lot of people are very concerned about because they know the way that he plays Survivor. I do not know how he plays Survivor, and I do know that he is a 2-time winner. I don't know what seasons, when, whatever. I knew that going into like the early seasons, so don't worry, that hasn't been spoiled for me from this. But I do feel like it's interesting to get to know people after they've won, to really appreciate their journey to winning, and that's something that like I am excited for with this series, especially because we're gonna get to see the big BR in a minute, but more on that in a second. And then second up, Danielle. I love Danielle Reyes. I don't think that's her name now. I think she might have gotten married and it's different now. I don't know. But either way, she is an icon. She is my favourite Big Brother player ever. I remember I've only seen seasons 2 to 4 and then 24, 25, 26. But like out of those 6 seasons, she is the one that stood out to me as the best player to have never won. And apparently that is a popular general consensus. I still think that she should have won. She is the reason why they introduced jury. A jury sequestering at least. So I feel like she's a pretty iconic person. I'm excited to see how she gets on in the castle. But apparently she doesn't particularly want to see Brittany. Now, this is my favorite thing about the Traitors US, is they always are like, oh, is there anyone that you don't want to see here? And the person's like, this person. And then they cut to this the person that they've just said in another car. Every single time it makes me chuckle. Last season it was Sandra and Parvati. Oh, it was hilarious. Also, I got a lot of flack for how I said Parvati. People were like, you called her poverty. And I was like, no, I didn't. I know for a fact I did not call her poverty. For a fact, I know I didn't say that. So anyway, it is what it is. I am excited to see how this cast gets on. Now, another thing that I've noticed about the US version of the Traitors, it's a lot more extra than the UK version. The UK version's very cool with its vibes. It's more focused on the players and the game than it is on like the theatrics of it all. But Alan Cummings coming in on a horse surrounded by his followers was so unbelievably epic. And it really sort of like, I love the fact that they buy into this idea that it's a real castle, it's Alan's castle, they're playing his sadistic game. I do find that quite cool that they play into it and they really like try to sell the fantasy. Obviously, most people will sit there and go, oh, this is ridiculous, but I enjoy it. I like the fact that they're kind of bigging it up a little bit. It just makes it a lot more entertaining, I'd say. So, as the followers disperse, one of them did not leave, and that person was unmasked to be Boston Rob. Now, if you are watching the Survivor series on my channel, you will know that Boston Rob and me have a very complicated past. I didn't really like him in Marquesas. I then watched him in All Stars and I was like, he played an okay game. I think he actually played, I don't know. I don't think he played an amazing game. I thought Amber played a better game personally. He played too fast, too loose, too fast. And I've already said fast. And just too hard. So everyone saw him as a threat. And then when he backstabbed everyone, no one wanted to give him the win. So it was a tough one. However, I haven't seen his future appearances. And I know he's a winner at some point. I don't know when. But either way, icon. He is an icon. He knows how to play games and he knows what to do. However, this is where it gets a little bit complicated because Alan was basically like, yo guys, if you want Boston Rob in the game, just step forward and shake my hand. But then if you do that, you have to take somebody else out of the game. And I was like, raw, that's crazy. That's actually wild and crazy. And you got Carolyn, who's also from Survivor, who's standing there going, do I get rid of Tony now? Do I get rid of Tony? Should I get rid of Tony? But she doesn't step forward. So unfortunately, tough luck, Rob. Goodbye. We will see you later, I guess. So just a couple of introductions to different characters in the show. I was very, very interested to meet, I think her name is Ayan. She's from the Real Housewives of Dubai. This woman seems hilarious. She walks in and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm used to looking pretty. I don't normally have to use my brain. And I just thought that is actually a really, really funny statement to say. I think she could be a hilarious, entertaining person for us to watch throughout this show. But obviously, who knows how long she'll last. Tony was telling everyone, oh, guys, I want to be a faithful. I want to be a faithful. And then in his confessional, he was like, no, I want to be a traitor. I'm lying to everyone. And I was like, damn, the lying is already starting. That is absolutely crazy. Then we had Gabby, who is apparently from the Bachelorette. She was basically like, oh, yeah, I'm from the Bachelorette. And everyone was like, oh, how did that go for you? And she went, well, I'm a lesbian now. Just simple things like that really make me like Gabby. I just find her very ditzy, but also very, like, just funny. She has great lines, and she is such just a ray of energy, which is nice. Then we were introduced to Ivor Mountbatten. Now, I'm a British person, and I did not know that this man existed, let alone the fact that he had a wife, divorced her, and then married a man. I did not know this. I didn't realise that we had some LGBTQ people in the family, in the royal family, that is. That is absolutely wild and crazy. But apparently, he's like a distant cousin of somebody. But either way, he is a royal and he's an icon at the end of the day. I think he's quite cool and quite entertaining. So we'll have to see how he gets on. As we head into the round table, we get to find out who the traitors are. And I have to say, I think they chose correctly. Out of everybody there, these three people are the most entertaining picks in my mind, especially with the additional traitor that they're going to add at the end of the episode. I think this group of four is going to be absolutely spectacular. The first one was Danielle. Now, I've said this before. Danielle is the best Big Brother player to have never won Big Brother. That is a kind of popular consensus, I think, among the fan base. I could be wrong. I know that somebody says it in the next episode, so I'm assuming it's true. But either way, she is known for being able to play everybody but act amazing to their face. And the only reason she lost is because the jury wasn't sequestered, so she essentially had everybody go home that she'd backstabbed and chatted shit about, and they watched it and they went, rah, how could you do that? How could you say that? I thought you were my friend. It's the game, besties. It's the game. But either way, I love Danielle. I think she's amazing, and I'm so excited to see her as a traitor. She has the ability to be a Suri figure, where she kind of just slips so far under the radar that no one ever believes it's her, because how could it possibly be her? Listen, she does this for a living. She knows what she's doing. And I feel like people are going to underestimate her massively. Next up, we had Carolyn. Now, Carolyn is from a newer season of Survivor. I'm fairly certain season 44. I'm excited to see how she gets on, but she has a very frantic, nervous energy about her. As far as I'm aware, that is just her. But I am nervous that when it comes to piling the pressure on, she might not maintain her cool. Survivor is a very, very different game to the Traitors because you don't have people accusing you of stuff and then being at risk of being banished by a huge, overwhelming majority. In Survivor, it's all about alliances and making it further in the game, whereas she's on the enemy team. It's very different, in my opinion, to Survivor. I think she's got some skills that she can carry over, but I think she does need to be careful. Last but not least is Bob the Drag Queen. First of all, iconic that he is a traitor, or she. What are we using? They? I'm not sure now. He's iconic. He is awesome. I'm very excited to see how Bob gets on, purely because Bob is an icon in the dance world, the drag race world, and I am just excited to see how he gets on. I do have a feeling that his over-the-top flamboyant nature is going to get him noticed, but it is going to be interesting to see whether he can worm his way out of trouble, how he deals with himself around the round table. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just hoping that fun, exciting, awesome things do happen, because he has the ability to be a great traitor, or he has the ability to be absolutely dreadful. So we've got two things to talk about before we head into the mission. And the first is that Tom immediately ripped off his mask once the names were picked. And he immediately went after Chriselle for being like a bit off, a bit scared, a bit uncomfortable. And then he sort of raised it to the group outside the room. Now, Dylan took issue with this, and Dylan went to go tell Chriselle, like, yo, by the way, Tom's raising your name with a lot of people and is kind of putting your name out there as a traitor already. And Chriselle's like, I bet this is because I'm friends with his ex. Now, I did not realize that this guy, Tom, is exes with Ariana Grande. And I was sat there like, so we've got Britney's ex in here, Sam, and we've got Ariana Grande's ex in here, Tom. Is that what they're famous for? I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain that that's what Sam's known for. Like, that's the only thing I know Sam for. But I'm fairly certain Tom's in... Was he in Vanderpump Rules? I haven't seen the show, but like my friend was like, oh, I think he's in Vanderpump. And I was like, oh, cool, I guess, nice. But now he's going to be known as Ariana Grande's ex. I'm sorry. That's what happens when you play around. There was a really, really funny conversation between Jeremy, Tom, and I want to say Danielle was there, but I could be very, very wrong. Jeremy was basically like, I don't think it's Carolyn. I don't think it's Carolyn, because if it was, I'd be able to sniff it out by now. I would definitely know if it was Carolyn or not. And I was sat there like, bro, how would you know? How actually would you know? You wouldn't, because she's doing fine. Like, you can't tell straight off the back whether someone's a traitor or not. And then Tom was like, yeah, I agree. I feel like she had very frantic energy going into the round table, and she maintained that energy coming out. So I really don't think it's her. Oh, and Danielle, I also don't think it's you either. And I was sat there like, Tom, you're so stuck on Chriselle that you're not seeing the two traitors right in front of your face. And you've literally just cleared both of them. You literally just went, it's not Carolyn, it's not Danielle. If you'd have said it's not Bob the Drag Queen, it would have been 3 for 3. I'd have been like, you might be the worst player ever. It was so funny to just watch him absolutely crumble in that moment. And I was like, oh, wow. He just has absolutely no idea, but he thinks he's so correct. That is hilarious. So, in the UK version, this rowing challenge came in episode 2, I think. I have to say this, no, it was episode 3. It was the episode that Armani went home. Was it? Yeah, because Maya was up for... Yeah. So this is episode 3 that this challenge came out, the rowing challenge. The rowing challenge came in episode 1. And I was like, ooh, this is interesting. And they actually set it up a lot different to the UK version, which was nice. It was the same fundamental premise, but it was set up slightly differently, so that they started at the shield, they had to row up the lake and then row back. I'm assuming it's because these guys are a lot better at games than the UK version, and so they're used to physical labour. But either way, I was like, yeah, fair enough, let's get them working, shall we? These guys could not row a boat. Genuinely, row your boat was not happening in this program. It was absolutely horrendous, to the point where they were having to shout, heave ho, heave ho, and I was sat there like, come on guys, this is absolutely pathetic. This is rubbish. This is genuinely the worst attempt I've seen at a challenge. They also ended up on shore at some point. Then we had Robin and Ian, who were just absolutely hysterical. They were very, very, very funny. They decided to get off the boat first for the fuel, I think it was at first. And then Dolores and Dorinda decided to get off for the money. And then once the boat had left, they were sat there like, wait, does that make us targets now? Are people going to think that we're the traitors because we got off easily? Uh-oh, this is not good. This is not happening. This is not good at all. And then we get to the next stop, and Bob is having a go at everyone because the men do not want to get off the boat. They do not want to get off and sacrifice their chance at immunity, because I feel like a lot of those men play these kind of games or have grown up watching these kind of games and know that immunity means everything, especially in Survivor and especially in Big Brother as well. Although there's no male Big Brother contestants on the show at the moment. It's all male Survivor and female survivors at the moment. So I just find that very interesting that the men were just like, nah, to the point where Bob was like, can some men please get off the fucking boat? Get off the boat. And the girls are like, come on, 4 women have already stepped off the boat. No more. And then Danielle was like, fuck it, I'll go. And Bob did as well. So Bob and Danielle were just stranded on a raft in the middle of the ocean. In the lock. And both of them are traitors, but neither of them knew. So they were just keeping up the guise of like, oh, I don't want to get murdered tonight. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, I really hope that they don't target me. Now, at the next dock, Bob and Sam got off, which I was like, okay, good. Some boys have finally taken the courage to get off. But again, I noticed that there were some people not budging, not even volunteering. There wasn't a rush of, oh, let's do it. And then they didn't even bother going to the final platform because nobody wanted to get off. So they sacrificed $20,000 purely because 2 people weren't willing to get off the boat. That is absolutely ridiculous. And it does really highlight the selfishness of some players. And as much as this is a selfish game, it's selfish, but like, do you really want to be playing for like $2.50 and a target card? Do you know what I mean? Like, I made the same joke on the UK version, but like, I would, if I'm working for money in this challenge, I'd be like, oh, fine, I will sacrifice myself to get us some money, because what's the point of me making it all the way to the end if I'm winning fuck all? So when the stranded people got back to the castle, there wasn't a great deal of food left because everyone else had kind of swept in and eaten it. So they kind of just had to pick over the leftovers. And when I tell you, Bob the Drag Queen kicked off, and then Dorinda kicked off, and it was just backwards and forwards. Just Dorinda was not happy in the slightest. It was selfish. It was this. It was that. And I was like, do you know what? Yeah, fair enough. There was always going to be, what, like 10 people left on the raft, and 10 people had to get off. But by making it so that only 8 people got off, you have like considerably increased the chances of one of those 8 to go home. More so because 2 of the traitors are in there. Do you know what I mean? So it's actually a 1 in 6 chance that someone in that group is going to go. They don't know that. They think it's 1 in 8. But it's actually 1 in 6, which is kind of crazy, I can't lie. So honestly, I feel like those people absolutely deserve to pop off. I feel like if you sacrifice yourself and then everyone else is like, nah, I'm not sacrificing myself, you're sat there like, what was the point of me sacrificing? What actually was the point? And I was like, do you know what? Fair enough. To finish this episode off, we're going to talk about the Traitors turret. We didn't get to see much more than just them meeting, and then we headed into the woods to see that Boston Rob has been recruited as a traitor and is being hoisted up in the air in the little cages that we saw Alexander, Fozia and Jack in the UK series. But this time it looks like they're all going to be entering the game, and it's going to be some other kind of twist that comes with this challenge. But either way, I like the fact that they're mixing around the order of the challenges. It makes it more exciting to watch, I feel like, and it also just gives it a little bit more va-va-voom, a little bit more intrigue, because it expects the unexpected, you know what I mean? And that's something that, like, as much as I don't like them using the same missions, I understand for ease why they would. But I also like the fact that they do mix it up in that way. So either way, it was hysterical to watch Bob and Danielle meet each other in the turret. Hysterical. Because both of them were like, for fuck's sake, we could have just been having a little chat out there on the ocean about it. We should have just revealed our identities. Oh, that is really funny. That is really, really funny. But yeah, I'm excited. This series looks like it could be very entertaining, very exciting, and I have very, very high hopes for it. So without much further ado, we are going to finish off there. Thank you guys for watching the first episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all of that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. And make sure to tune in tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow when the next episode does drop on my channel. Yay. Bye now. Keep on ranting.